Good morning there YouTube. So I don't usually do this kind of video on the prep work, but today I'm here on a Saturday and we've got this Land Cruiser Prado in here. So it's a 3-stage white pearl job and we're just going to be doing the prep work in this video. So I've got a brand new door here, which I actually did the seam sealer work on the inside last night. I just prepped the outside up and yeah, we're just going to mainly be focusing on the body here. I do actually get some people asking about these kind of videos from time to time, like do more prep videos but in the same style of the Gunman raw videos. So as you can see, it's already been primed up. I've then gone and cut the plastic out just to keep the vehicle clean when I'm doing my prep work. It's something I never used to do. I probably started it about 1.5 years ago and it's a good way to do it for a few reasons actually. Sometimes you need to do a little bit of spot priming and then you're not going to be getting overspray over the rest of the car, and also keeps the car clean from the dust. Also another thing is sometimes you might be prepping a job up later in the evening, later in the afternoon, and then the guys will be doing prime ups in the background and the overspray's not going to do any harm. So on this job here I just decided to paint the entire jam. This is one thing that I do these days. I used to sometimes try to do a little blend here maybe and a blend there, but it's really not worth it. You're not really saving anything. So I just tell the guys to pull that rubber off, pull these things off, and I'll just go. I'll sometimes like loop it up around here, you know. There might be the tiniest little edge here. I might put a bit of fade out thinner through there, and then I'll come up through this line here. And you got to remember that here, the front edge of that rear door is there, so it's really not the most seen spot, but to have a nice coat of clear the whole way up does make a big difference to me anyway. Just makes the job a lot neater. They're just giving the panels a good clean down. That's a mixture of just actually tap water at the moment, tap water and ethanol. You can mix it with any sort of alcohol, like methylated spirits, denatured alcohol, anything like that really. Just a good cleaner. I've actually even seen some people use window cleaner to clean their panels up. Whatever works for you, man. Yeah, the reason I don't do these kind of videos more often is because we've got the radio on in the background and people running around asking me questions, too many interruptions, and you've also, like, as a YouTuber, you've got copyright things to think about as well. So music on in the background, your video gets flagged or you can't make any money off it, you know, can't monetize it. I don't know, I think that's pretty crap really. Like, I reckon you should be able to have music on in the background and maybe even like share the revenue or something like that. But I don't make the rules. So I found my variant, so I found my color chip already. For me, for this color here, it's usually the yellower and darker variant, which actually is still a little bit light, but I'd rather a lighter color than a darker color. So yeah, yellower and darker variant. 070 is the color code. It's crystal white pearl. Pretty much the only white pearl they put on these. Yeah, as I was saying in some of my other videos, you don't want to be color matching every time you need to do a white pearl or any 3-stage really. You just want to go to variant, have it already sprayed out, and then you can just mix and paint. Sprayed out by your hand, so you know that it's going to replicate. So with the 3-layer pearls, I'll keep my own spray outs. So I don't want to mix them with spray outs from the other guys. Yeah, that's just a bit of prep salt or wax and grease remover here. That gets rid of some of that grease around the door handle. And that's all nice and clean now. Might even spend a bit of extra time under this wheel arch to make it easier when I need to do the masking. Just with that older rag. Maybe even dirtier rag. I usually keep a bit of a rotation of the rags, like when that gets dirty I'll just sort of rotate them. But yeah, like I've worked in shops where as soon as it goes in the door jamb like that, they'll take all the doors off, you spray in the hole. Like you're not allowed to have one little masking edge or anything. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, man, like most insurance companies are not going to pay for that. Like, yeah, at your regular smash shops, forget about it. But I have worked in those prestige shops that you have to do everything like, you know, totally perfect. But it cracks me up, the mentality of some of the people that obviously work in those shops. They think they're better than you, like, because they work in that shop. It's like, dude, just because I don't now work in one of those shops doesn't mean I'm any worse than you as a painter, you know. Like, I'm more than capable of working in one of those shops. I'm just happy where I am. So I get these things get pretty loud. Should really be. I always actually like to wear these. Don't want to get a hot bit of glue bouncing into my eye. No thanks. Bit of prep sol in case there's any glue left behind, and all those stains they'll come straight off with the orbital sander. It's no biggie. Alright, so next up we're going to be getting that block and the good panel beater, like my favourite panel beater, the Irish guy. He did the repairs on this, so I'm sure they're going to be pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. Usually I would actually put the straight up white primer onto the 3 layers. I did tell Alan, but he didn't quite understand what I meant when I said white primer. At the moment we actually use 2 different primers. Like we've got the Standox primer, which is quite expensive, and then we've got the Cyrox primer. We use Cyrox primer on most of our jobs. So we've got the dark Cyrox stock over there, and then we've got the light Cyrox, but they don't have white in the Cyrox brand. So on the 3 layers for coverage, I do usually try to use the straight up white primer from the Standox. As I say, it's a little bit more expensive, so I don't use it on most cars. I mean, coverage in Stando Blue is pretty good, but even if you can just save like half a coat on one of these, because you're putting so many coats of white down, even half a coat does sort of make a difference, you know. But it's all good, it's really not the end of the world. I put a photo up on Instagram the other day, so when you are choosing shades of primer, sometimes a car like this, you see people use too light of a shade of primer. Even the reds, you see them using quite light primers when you want sort of most of the time, a darker primer, I've found anyway, depending on the shade of red. But what I was saying is think in shades. Like when you're choosing primer, don't think in colors, like think in black and white basically. So yeah, what you do is you take a photo of the car and then put a black and white filter over it, and you can take that next to your primer and like I was actually thinking of spraying out these different colors of primers. You could hold your spray outs up to the car, take a photo, put a black and white filter over it, and the primer shade that you can barely see is the right shade. And yeah, it's a handy little tip, that. But I laugh at some of had this sort of know-it-all paint rep over there. Oh, you know, he's being like sarcastic, like know-it-all type guy. 25-year-old thinks he's top shit because he's a paint rep, you know. And he's like, oh, or you could just follow the paint manufacturer's recommendations, you know. It's like, dude, grow up, man. Like out here in the real world, we're using Cyrox primers under you know, Stando Blue. We're just doing what we got to do to make a dollar, dude. Like, you know, insurance companies constantly screwing us down on the prices and all that, and we're just doing what we got to do, man. If we got to put Cyrox primer underneath, so bad. I don't mind. It's good. It's actually a good quality primer. Yeah, sort of as I say, man. You get some of those people. They just, I don't know, think they're better than you because they live in the perfect world, you know. So get some dry guide coat here. Let's go over those sanded sections. We're gonna have to spot prime this bit here. There's a little bit of an imperfection there, which that's why I kept blocking. We'll just spot prime that, no biggie. Probably just a bit of 1K primer. Don't have time to 2-pack it. Alright, so that was 400 on the orbital sander. Now we've got the 500 grits. 500 grit softback sanding sponges. Get that respirator on. Sorry if you can't hear me, but I don't like filling my face up with dust. That's one thing that cracks me up. You see, like, from factory, they've gone over a dark grey primer. So when you see those people, like, get up on their high horse about the shade of primer that you use, and it's like, dude, they use a darker primer than even this one from factory, you know? Calm down, dude. It really doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't, the paint system that I'm using anyway really doesn't cover that bad. Like, 1.5 coats and you're pretty much done on pretty much every single colour. Yeah, calm down, mate. It's not the end of the world. It's just a shade of primer, man. Yeah, it cracks me up when I just like sort of trying to help people, you know, just choose a shade of primer, like thinking black and white, and then you get these people like, well, too many flogs in this world, man. Even that Mazda machine grey, which is like a really ultra fine metallic, I was spraying it the other day and I had a cut through it, and it was like that beige sort of yellowy green type primer colour, and there was no black. So I'm thinking maybe we don't have to spray it black first. I'm going to try it next time and see if I can just go straight over whatever primer colour, like one of these dark primers, and see how it looks. At the end of the day, man, I'm just going to do whatever works, and if it works for me, I'm going to do it. I don't care what your manufacturer says, like, you know, those kind of like 25-year-old know-it-all paint rep workers. Do what the manufacturer says. Nah, man, I'm going to do what works. You can get screwed. But yeah, I don't know, I kind of get it. Like when I was 25, I was a bit of a know-it-all too, so yeah, I don't really care too much, to be honest. Got to have a laugh at it sometimes, I guess. That's 800 grit on the orbital sander through these blends. I can still see some 180 grit scratches there. That's what I was blocking it with, by the way. I forgot to mention that. So I might even just go a bit of 600. 800 is probably a touch on the fine side to get those 180s out. This is why I always say that you see there's some pretty gnarly 180 scratches. I always say that guide code is not the be all and end all of prep work. You can put guide code down, but it doesn't mean you're not going to get scratches. You've really got to be on the ball and have a keen eye for details. There's still, this is probably the color that one of the colors that you would get away with it in, but still, like, you don't want to be painting over deep scratches. So that's all the whizzing done. Ah, there's my little air blower. Awesome, these things. I need a drink of water, so shout out to Frank Caltabiano from North California for making this for me. Thanks, dude. There's his sticker, State of Jefferson Firearms Training. So next up, I'm going to do some of these edges. That's all the orbital sanding done. I'll probably say we're probably more than halfway on the prep work anyway. So making good time, mate, making good time. This will be a bit of 800 grit. So if I was to go straight up with a piece of Scotchy or even one of those super fine pads in here, it would die in no time. So I like to just give even just a quick scuff over the top here, and using one of these stops me from cutting through because you're still hand sanding. If I was to go and get the orbital in there, you'd cut through on all your edges and you'd have to put colour over it. So this way all we're going to have to do is put clear there. Bit of something under here. Might actually tape that up so we don't damage it with the prep work. Even around these areas, sometimes I'll just go with the 800 grit and then go over the top of that with, like, you've got to be careful with those little bits of black from around here that you don't go and drag that all over your prep work. That can happen. Got rid of all those stains from the rubber wheel, all good. I also like to do inside here, got your people putting their dirty fingernails and scratches inside there. So give it a quick go with the 800. But yeah, I'm actually going to be leaving this workshop in about 6 months, 5 or 6 months. I'm moving back to my home state of Victoria. I'm going to be moving up the country. I'm actually originally from central, well, I was born in Melbourne, but my parents moved to central Victoria when I was like 1 or 2 years old. And at the age of 17, I left the country back to Melbourne and started my apprenticeship in spray painting. And yeah, then I moved over here to Perth in 2012, I think it was, 11 or 12, and actually moved back to Melbourne. I moved back over here because I liked it better over here. But yeah, this time I just want to be closer to family, you know. So I've actually bought myself a house in the country, like central Victoria, which is Bendigo. It's where my mum lives, so just so I can be closer to her, like she's getting on, and you know, you don't want to miss those last years, I guess. The good thing about Bendigo is, like, I bought a house there for 250,000. Like, it's pretty much unheard of in the cities these days in Australia to get a house for that price. So sort of worked on a city wage for the last sort of 4 or 5 years, and I've got that home loan nearly smashed down. So while someone's been living in there, I've been renting it out to them, and just saving all my pennies and putting it off the home loan. So when I do get back to live up there, sort of my wages aren't quite what they are in the city, in the country, but way I've sort of been looking at it as well, by the time you're in your own house, there's a big chunk of your wage that you don't have to worry about, so it's sort of even itself out, if you know what I mean. So should be doing all right. And when I do get back over there to Bendigo, I don't know, hoping to do some more videos. Like, I don't know, I'd like to even learn a little bit of airbrushing and some of that custom work. I'd like to get one of those stencils, like, you know, the sticker plotters, I think they call them a plotter or something like that. But they I don't know, you can just print out sort of any shapes that you like, and they've got like a little razor blade in there, and you can sort of airbrush stuff with the shapes that you make. Sort of like what I did for the regulars, like I did on my my gaming table. Did like Nintendo and PlayStation logos all over that. So that was pretty good fun. I'd like to do more of that kind of stuff. Get a killer shed. Like at the moment, my house has got like a small shed, but you can get a shed and bit of concrete laid down pretty cheap these days. You get like a little, I was even thinking like a spray fan like what we've got over here, something like that, and just do like your airbrushing in. So keep most of the overspray out of the shed, and yeah, could be fun. See what happens, man. Nothing's set in stone, but we've all got to have something to work towards, don't we? Like life does seem so go, 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 even in Perth, to be honest. Like Perth is a pretty small city, and compared to Sydney and Melbourne, it's actually like a small country town, to be honest, which is part of the reason I like it. But sort of will be good to go and I don't know, slow down a bit, live in the country, live the country life, mate. Why not? I actually hear, like, even in America, like lots of people are sort of leaving the big cities because they're just getting pretty bad. I heard even in Australia that like lots of people are sort of starting to leave the big cities. As I said, like I think it was like 2012, I left Melbourne, and then I moved back there in 2015, and it was, wow, it got so much, it was only a few years, but man, it got so much worse. Or maybe it was just like the culture shock of coming from Perth to Melbourne. But yeah, like here we are in October, late October here in 2020, as I'm making this video, and man, Perth has never been busier as far as panel work goes. Like I subscribe to this thing called seek.com, which is like a website with, you know, jobs on it and stuff like that. And yeah, like pretty much every day, man, this week there's been a new job for a spray painter, if not one or two, around the area that I live. So yeah, and like I never really work on Saturday. I haven't worked here on Saturday for a while, unless it was on my own car, which I did some peelable paint on recently. But yeah, it's kind of good in that aspect. It's good to be busy. So I know not everyone around the world has that luxury, but like my friends in Melbourne, man, they've been in lockdown. I think their government totally bungled up the quarantine. Like they had private security guards in the quarantine, and they took it back out into the population. So a right royal F up over there. Looking pretty good. Did I do that bottom edge? It doesn't look like it. I usually leave them till last in case they're dirty. I don't want those dirty pads mucking up the rest of it. That's all good. How's the quarter panels looking? Yeah, these little pads are awesome, man. Like the 3Ms are the best ones. I think these are actually the GPI brand. They're great too. I'm not far off a booth with this one here. I think I will break that up into a separate video though, because probably getting a touch on the long side, but I'm sure the regulars are loving it because it's something different. Don't usually get to see me do a long form prep video while I'm talking. Yeah, you can see that these pads really get rid of all those shinies, like inside all those edges really well. I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's not the be all and end all. Sometimes I will, like on the bumpers with loads of these little corners, I just get a bit of grey scotchy, and sometimes that can work better. But I find these sort of scuff in a little bit better, yet they're still fine enough, and they do last. Like, as you see, like, I've got this whole job done with one, so it's pretty impressive. Now the very last thing I'm going to do is just get a bit of, there's no bare metal there, no bare metal. We'll cover up that easy with the white, that's all good. The white from the base coat, that is. But yeah, I will, because that one there, that's gone through the bare metal, so I'll get a little bit of one shot 1K primer on there, etch primer, just a real light coat. And then just give it a scuff with this when it's dry, which it won't take long. Yeah, I've actually recently got this new GoPro Hero 8 Black, and it's awesome, man. It's a big upgrade from the last camera I had. So I went from a 4 to an 8, and those 4s used to overheat, and like I would have had to have changed the battery probably 3 times by now. Yeah, this thing goes for ages. Battery power's heaps better. It doesn't overheat. Goes right up to 4K. Well, the other one did actually go up to 4K, but it would overheat big time when it was running at 4K. So it's all good. Hope you guys have noticed a bit of a improvement on the video quality. But in saying that, YouTube knocks it all back down to 1080p anyway, so I don't even know if you've noticed any difference. And get rid of all those bits of dirt inside there so we don't clear over dirt. It's never a good thing, because we won't be putting colour all the way up there. But it's just a final check over for any shinies. I might find a couple after I blow it off, but it's not the end of the world. Alright, I grab those ear muffs so I don't deafen myself any more than I already am. Alright, so let's get a bit of etch primer. Where is masking machine over here? Just do with this with a bit of low pressure so we don't get it all over the place. Yeah, as I say, I'm going to just use an old one of these to scuff that primer back, because if I use like a proper sandpaper, like a hard sandpaper, it'll just go and cut back through again straight away. So just give it a light scuff with one of those soft pads, and we're right to go. So as I say, that's just about us. I'll give it like a final check over and make sure that I haven't got any shiny spots. I'll give it all an unmask, and always sort of, you know, inspecting the jobs as I go along. Hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. I'd like to say a big thanks to everyone for watching, and if you'd like to support the channel further, you're more than welcome to go over and check out some of the merchandise we've got. My personal favourite is those spray suits, so they're a good quality Colad branded spray suit with the Gunman logo on it. There's also hats, drink coolers, hoodies and t-shirts, so be sure to go over and check out the link in the description if you are interested. All that aside, I'd just like to say a big thanks for watching, and that is enough to support the channel. But as I say, if you'd like to go the next step, then be sure to check out some of that merchandise. Thanks for watching, and until next time, get out there and paint some shit. Gunman out.